and thank you for joining me. Thank you to all my subscribers. Continue to like, share, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel to keep growing. Today's talk will be on a topic that's a bit dark. If you recall, I'd had a talk about how blood is not thicker than water, and how the bonds that people choose to forge by themselves, the choices that people make about the people they want to bring into their lives, how those bonds tend to be a lot more solid than biology. And here we have a story that seems to buttress that fact. It's not a breaking story. It's current though, and it's a sad one. Reports have it that a certain Lambert Ukachukwu, his wife, their daughter, and their son, Philip, have been accused of killing their son and sibling, 28-year-old Chukwu Ebuka, at their home in Duru Egwele village, Umweze 2, in Ehime, Mbano local government area of Imo State. Reports also have it that the family accused the deceased of being too stubborn and of giving them sleepless nights. I have been waiting for this story to evolve so that I can gather more content and give you a well-researched piece. But it's been 6 days now and nothing more has come of it. I guess investigations are still ongoing. Philip, who is also a culprit in the killing of this fellow, who is also a culprit in the killing of his brother Chukwu Ebuka, is nowhere to be found, and police are said to be on the lookout for him. And of course, a number of vlogs and blogs have also carried the story. I've looked at the comments people are making and so on and so forth, and most of these comments come from a place of, a whole lot of self-righteousness. How imagine a child that they probably prayed for. God blessed them with that child, and now they've killed the child. By the way, Chukwu Ebuka is 28 years old, so he's not a child in the technical sense of the word. Like, he's a full-grown, mature adult who was probably still living in the family house. Like I said, the reports are very sketchy. Nothing is detailed enough, but it's an intriguing one. It's not intriguing because a son got killed by the parents or by a sibling. This is old. It's as old as time. What is intriguing about this is the collusion involved. The entire family, the parents and two siblings, collectively reached a decision to kill Chukwu Ebuka, because according to reports, he is too stubborn and gives them sleepless nights. You see, when that kind of language is used, it trivializes the whole thing thoroughly. I can get people killing even a blood relation in the heat of an argument. Wives have been known to kill their husbands. Husbands have been known to kill their wives. Sometimes it's a systematic thing based on selfishness. Sometimes it's something that happens on the spur of the moment, in the heat of passion. These things happen. But when a family, including both parents, the mother and the father, and then two siblings, one male, one female, get together and agree that one person has become such a problem to the family as a unit that that person has to be discarded, there's a real problem there. I don't think it was a decision that was reached lightly. And I don't think this came from random acts of stubbornness. Yesterday he was asked to come home before 10 p.m. and he didn't. The other day he wouldn't wash my clothes. Uh, the other day he ate a meal that was not kept for him. He chooses not to go to school. He used up the money that was given to him for school fees. These are things we refer to as stubbornness, small, small acts of naughtiness. But when a family of four team up and get rid of one person, it is not stubbornness. That person has put them through hell. There is nothing as painful, nothing shakes your core more than when your own child, a child you nurtured from the helplessness of infancy to adulthood, now becomes a bane to the entire family. And most of the time, these children are the such the highly coveted sons. We all know that in Nigeria, most times if a woman can have 10 girls as long as she hasn't had a son, even if the husband, doesn't really mind and is, okay. In the family, especially his own side of the family, she's going to be held in high disdain, scorn. As far as they're concerned, she hasn't started having children yet. And if you have a son who merits the title of son, oh my, it's such a blessing, it's such a joy. When you have a son who is calm, who takes his studies seriously, who applies himself, who is ready to be hardworking, disciplined, and committed, and who remembers that the burden of carrying the family name rests on him, that thing can be such a blessing. On the flip side, if you happen to have one of those sons who feels like a demigod and acts as such, the misery that is inflicted upon that home is best imagined. I'm emphasizing sons because all the instances I know of children that are keeping their parents awake at night are males. It's not as if daughters don't get heady. They do. But it's almost incomparable to what, when a son decides to go haywire, they get aggressive, they get violent, they steal, and can kill. In some instances, it comes from a place of overindulging that son because he is male. Usually this is an instance where that person is an only son, maybe in the midst of a lot of girls, or the last child in the midst of girls, or the last son, period, or the first. The mother indulges every whim and caprice. The father does the same thing. They get everything they want, no questions asked. When they eventually marry, their wives go through hell. Then there are others who are born into just regular homes where nobody is ready to treat them like anything special. They are just another child. They either fall in with the wrong crowd, start doing drugs, something goes wrong somewhere, and they come home, they become hell on earth for the family. I honestly believe that some people, male and female, I honestly believe there are people who are born evil. And it has nothing to do with how they are raised, whether there's a mental challenge. You know, when you are just your average Joe, there's a kind of thing you'll hear somebody did that you will quickly ascribe it to mental illness because nothing else makes sense to you. There are people who are perfectly healthy mentally, but they are creatively evil. Why does that happen? I don't know. And when I read that story, these were the kinds of things that went through my mind. My perspective is coming from a place of things I have seen and heard that are really harrowing for any parent to go through. I've heard parents regret the existence of a child. I know one or two instances of people whom I honestly believe if they drop dead today, the parents will not mourn them because of how much pain and sorrow and unhappiness they've brought into the household. Some children, especially in this our day and age, where so many of them are so entitled, some of them can push you to the wall. They demand respect, which they have no intention of giving. It would have been different if we heard that he was a very wealthy person. Okay, he's rich, so they want to kill him and take his money. Evidently, that's not the case. It would have been different if we had heard that, okay, there was a fight in the house and somebody picked a knife and in the process somebody... That's not the case. It would have been different if we heard that the family is so poor that they decided that, okay, one person should be used for a ritual, some kind of money-making ritual, so that they could get themselves out of penury. That's not the case either. These people just got together, killed this guy, buried him in a shallow grave, and moved on with their lives. There was something extreme going on in that household. Does it justify killing? No. I pray that justice takes its course. But is there any way the state could have helped them? Is there any way, could the police have stepped in? I know the police are not meant to be involved in civil disputes, but what other options could they have had with this person who was already a mature adult? It's not like he was a rambunctious teenager. What do you do with an adult that's living in your house and causing you hell on earth? What do you do? What would have been the better solution to this problem? I'm really hoping that more investigations will be carried out so that we can get to the bottom of what was the trigger, what was the final straw. I feel as if there was a final straw moment. What was it? How else could this family have been helped so that Chukwuebuka could still be alive and go on with his life wherever he needed to go on with his life, and his family could live? Should they have moved away from what could they have done other than this bad thing they have done? I still repeat that I'm not justifying it, but the question I'm asking is, what other options come to your mind as you hear this story? I wouldn't mind if you share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think the family, what other option do you think they could have explored? If you say that they should have been taking him to prayer houses, how do we know that they didn't? If you say that they should have taken him for some psychiatric evaluation, how do we know that they didn't? Or maybe they couldn't afford it. Or maybe they just are not that knowledgeable to know that such options exist. Or maybe he has been that way from childhood. There are children who from the age of 1, 2 begin to manifest something that you cannot understand because you have not seen it in any of the other children. And they grow with that thing and it keeps getting worse with each year. Who can proffer an answer as to what other course of action this family could have taken?